Well, hello and welcome. This is John, and we're going to have a look at this little knife, the Kershaw Entropy, model number 1885, Chinese-made Kershaw. But before that, welcome to all the people who joined my channel from Knife Monkey. I'll do my best to make something interesting for you so that you also might want to stay. And this is my first attempt at that. It is one of Kershaw's more budgety knives. Still, in the US, I didn't check very much, but at least around $40, I think. But often Kershaw's can be had way cheaper over there, and my review is a bit biased by the fact that Kershaw knives are quite expensive in Europe, where I am, and that means that they have to compete with the other knives in a higher price range. So be aware of that. I am biased in that way. As you can see, it can open. It couldn't when I started, when I first opened the box, I guess. So this review and how it looks now is all a result of me taking it apart and lubricating it and cleaning it up a bit. So be aware of that. As usual, on my channel, we start at the blade. We have a stone wash blade, a rather simple shape, just a drop point, flat grind, a bit of swedge on top, no jimping, and since it's attached to the blade, the flipper is a bit small, and which is okay, since this is, and I have to warn you or tell you, this is an assisted opening knife, which means there's a spring assist in the knife, which is actually a good thing, since otherwise it wouldn't have opened that good. I got it from a very good friend, Stasser23, who sent it to me as a present, and thank you, Stasser, once again. But I don't think this has been used very much, and well, later we'll talk about the action, because that was the problem with this one. The blade is a bit thick behind the edge, so not the best of slicers, but not bad at all, and it is reasonably sharp out of the box. Stasser normally sharpens his knives very, very nicely, but this one is not touched, so I think it was one he had laying around and was kind enough to send to me the way it is. And we like them the way they are out of the box if we are gonna do a decent review, right? So, looking at the handle, FRN or some sort of plastic. It is like plastic, rather slippery, even with these bumps in the other direction. And we can see already there are holes for left side carry, and of course the pocket clip is on, but the pocket clip is on the right side, tip up. And looking at that, a very, very deep carry, which is very nice in my book for a few reasons. I'll tell you about one in a little while. It is not that stiff, springy, so it takes quite a lot of material, no problem putting it in a pair of jeans. And of course the very simple pivot screw and the other screws. This is the pivot screw is a size 8 and the other ones are size 6, quite standard steel for the blade, forgot to mention. HCR13 MOV, fit and finish, quite nicely rounded off all over, no real sharp edges anywhere, which is always a good thing. Quite flush with the handle, the liners are flush with the handle. And if we look at the backspace, sorry, the standoffs, just a little bit of color there, which is always nice. Reddish color, I think. Lock up about 40%. And let's look at the centering. Well, not perfect, but I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a little while. And going to the elbows, it fits very nicely in hand. As you can see, it's a very simple shape, but it would fit most people, and even with I'm accused of big hands, even with my big hands, there's still room for more, and it sits very nicely. And the fact that they put the pocket clip a little further back so that it's so deep carry does that it is not inside your palm, it is outside your hand, so to speak, so that it doesn't create a hotspot, which is quite a good thing. You can do a nice choke up and no problem reverse grip if you are so inclined, and draw cut, very nice and neat as well. So let's talk about the action. That's perhaps the biggest issue with this one. When I got it, it couldn't even open fully. It opened like 60%, like this, and it was quite impossible to make it open anymore, even with the spring assist, which is that's not good. I opened it, and you could do this easily. I have had bad luck with some Kershaw knives and a lot of Loctite, but this one was easy to open, and lubricate a little bit and smoothen the washers, which by the way are Teflon on one side, or plastic, and phosphor bronze on the other, which I find is a bit cheap for a $40 knife. I have to admit that. I had to use a bit of energy to get this smooth and opening well with the spring assist. One note, you can actually de-assist this knife, which means that you can take off the spring, and there's a detent hole, so you can still make it lock up or close, keep it in the closed position, and it will stay there. But I choose to put the spring back because the action is actually quite terrible without the spring, and well, that's another good thing. I think spring assist, I guess, is okay, but not to hide a shitty action, and I can't tell you anything but that this was a bit shitty. I don't really think it is a good thing that you have to take the knife apart to make it work as the first when you get it out of the box. And for this, I have a hard time recommending it. It is quite a nice little beater knife, no problem there. But do you really have to take it apart before you even start using it? I don't think so. And I think it's that's bad. And that's a warning for you. If you feel like buying it, it's an okay knife, but please try it out. Either go to a web store where you can send it back quickly, or go to a real store and try it out before you buy it. Maybe I've got a lemon, I don't know, but that's the impression anyway. And since I recently once again was accused of big hands, I'll try to do a size comparison with the Ontario Red 1. Many of you would know this knife, I hope. That's one. And maybe a Spyderco Tenacious. As you can see, it's a bit smaller than both of them. So with this, not a real recommendation as it came to me anyway, but not a bad knife when you iron out the little box. And with this, have a nice day, evening, whatever it is in your country. Bye bye.